conversation sits for those who are meeting us for the first time. BehanBox is a feminist media organization that interrogates gender and marginality in India through in-depth reporting, community engagement, and partnerships with allied organizations. Our work is grounded in a single commitment, that is to build an India without margins, where power, dignity, and resources belong to everyone. The Feminist Election Newsroom grew out of that commitment, a collective feminist practice of democratic engagement to track power, interrogate it, and work to hold it to account during elections and well beyond them. FEN first began during the 2024 general elections. Today, it is a community of over 200 members who come together for analysis, learning, solidarity, and events much like this. This cycle, we covered the April 2026 state assembly elections across Assam, Kerala, Puducherry, Tamil Nadu, and West Bengal. And today's session is a part of that post-election coverage, and it comes out of a direct demand from FEN members who wanted to think harder about what the Tamil Nadu result actually meant and what it took to make it. We're hosting this in collaboration with the Indian School of Democracy, which is a non-partisan organization that runs programs for aspiring grassroots political leaders, working to nurture principled leadership rooted in moral courage, imagination, and the pursuit of Sarvodaya. Very quickly, let me introduce our speakers and then hand over to Tara. Ashwita is a member of TVK, the party that has just come to power in Tamil Nadu. Congratulations, Ashwita. She holds a master's in public administration from the Harvard Kennedy School, where she was an Edward S. Mason Fellow. Before her current role, she worked with the World Bank on a women's employment and safety project and as a campaign manager with IPAC across Tamil Nadu. She's a first generation college graduate from rural Tamil Nadu. She brings together deep grassroots experience, international policy training, and frontline campaign leadership. Over the past decade, her work has centered women and youth, and she has been recognized with several honors, including the Chief Minister's State Youth Award and the Working Women Achievers Award. On a personal note, Ashwita and I are both Young India Fellows from different batches, so I've known her work for many, many years, and it's so lovely to have you here, Ashwita. Sriram, who is our second speaker, is a grassroots political worker from Chennai, associated with the Indian Youth Congress since 2021. He is the former state coordinator of the Tamil Nadu Youth Congress and currently serves as the social media spokesperson for the Tamil Nadu Congress. He is an alumnus of the Indian School of Democracy's The Good Politician program, and his work spans election management, campaign coordination, youth mobilization, and community organizing. And alongside his political work, he is the founder of Bodhi Green Guards. It is a grassroots community initiative working on environmental awareness, rural development, education, public welfare, and farmers' welfare. And finally, Tara, who is the moderator of today's conversation. She is an independent consultant and a Cannes Gold-winning campaigner, working at the intersection of gender, politics, and policy. For over a decade, she has run civil society and election campaigns across the country in Karnataka, Andhra, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Delhi, UP, Bihar. As a policy consultant, she has led a gender-oriented impact evaluation of welfare schemes in Karnataka as well. So right up BehanBox's alley. Tara is the co-founder of Political Shakti, which works on women's political representation, and Citizens for Bengaluru, which works on decentralized urban governance and sustainable mobility. She serves on the advisory board of the Indian School of Democracy as well. She holds a public policy certificate from the London School of Economics and is also an MS in computer science. A warm welcome to all three of you, and over to you, Tara. Good luck for the conversation.
Thank you, Pallavi, for the kind words. Congratulations to Ashwita and all the other TVK members who may be here out in the open or closet supporters, but congratulations to all of you. I'll make an introduction to what just happened in Tamil Nadu, just so we're all on the same page, and then we'll get into jump into the discussion. So the first thing I'll say is that this is a tectonic shift, right? It is not just any election, and I hope you can see my slides. But this is not just any election. This is a tectonic shift. This probably seems like a very dramatic thing for a state to do. The last time we saw this most recently was with ARP, but that was a little dot of a city. Now we are talking about a whole state of about 8 crore, 8.5 crore people based on current extrapolated data, projected population. And then prior to that, we saw it with N.T. Rama Rao in Andhra Pradesh way back in the late 80s. So people often tend to compare Vijay with MGR or Jayalalitha. Those comparisons are not valid because both in the case of MGR and Jayalalitha, while MGR started a party, it was really hived off from the DMK, and he built his career in the DMK for several decades, more than three and a half decades between the Congress and DMK before he hived off a part of DMK. Jayalalitha took over an existing AIDMK. So they all happen to share a profession at some point, but beyond that, there is really no comparison. NTR is the closest comparison, not up, because it is a whole state that he won from being a film star. But keep that in mind as we look at the rise of Vijay. So it's not, a lot of people would like to say it's 2 years old, but in fairness, he's been acting for decades. And in 2009, he transitioned by 2009, he had vast fan clubs all over the state and across states. And even now in Kerala, in Andhra and Karnataka, in many places in Telangana. And he transitioned it from fan clubs to Vijay Makkal Iyakkam, which really means people's movement. And they started working on disaster relief. They started working on providing medical assistance, on educational issues, basically community issues. So you've already moved from a fan base to community-oriented action. And that continues on for a whole decade. And come 2021, they kind of did a floater balloon where members of the TVK tried to contest local polls. They didn't have a symbol at that time. The party wasn't officially launched at that time, so they contested as independents. But Vijay went ahead and endorsed them. And they won about more than 100 seats across Tamil Nadu. So that kind of floater worked well, gave them the sense that, yes, this is possible. So this was not the first election they contested, although officially this is. 2024 February, before the Lok Sabha polls, was the TVK official launch, and he also announced at the same time that he would retire from films. The current film that he was working on then, Jananayakan, would be his last film. They skipped the Lok Sabha polls to build the party. And in 2024 October, held the first political rally, the state conference at Vikravandi. It's called the Manadu or the Vikravandi state conference at a place called Vikravandi, right? So it's the Vikravandi Manadu. About 8 lakh people. This was just organic. There is no, typically for those of you that don't work in politics, 99% of political rallies are mobilized. That means that you have to shepherd people. The cadre are told to bring people. You shepherd people in. Many times most times people are provided transport, food, some other kind of inducements, even money to attend. And that includes rallies for everybody, from the very top politician in the country, we know who we are talking about, all the way to the bottom. With everybody, it's that way. This one was entirely organic. It just mind-blowing attendance, and people were just, completely stunned at what just happened. But there was a lot of dismissal of it as, it's a fan club, he's a superstar, he's coming in, kind of a thing. But some seminal things happened at that Manadu. He made his ideological positioning clear. He clearly announced that it would be a secular party committed to social justice. He called out the BJP as his ideological opponent, and he called out the DMK as his political opponent. And he called out the ADMK as well as his political opponent, and and both the Dravidian parties as kind of evil forces, literally. And he also promised clean governance. So this was his ideological mooring. So the ideological focus was not very different than that of the Dravidian parties. From an administrative perspective, it was a clean governance with a lot of focus on civic amenities. And the target electorate really that he called out explicitly, all of this he called out explicitly, were the youth, women, minorities, and children, the young ones. Now, continue to build the party. And 2026, March 18th, April 3rd was the polls, if you recall. He announced that they would go solo. There was a lot of speculation as to whether they were going to ally with the DMK, with the ADMK, or, there was even speculation about BJP. There was speculation about Congress. All of the back and forth later, it was all speculation. The party neither confirmed nor denied. They said they were going to go solo, fielded candidates in all seats. Vijay himself ran in 2 seats, Perambur in Chennai and Trichy in Tiruchirappalli in the Trichy East constituency. May 4th, when the results came, they, as you know, all of you followed the drama, the polls predicted anywhere between 2 to 3 seats, 15, 20%, even single digit percent in some cases, 15, 20, 25% vote share, but maybe only less than 10 seats or maybe at most 15 seats, etc. And this was, they emerged the single largest party. I say 108 seats minus 1 because Vijay won in 2 seats. So they netted 107 individual MLAs. During the campaign, Vijay actually had to cancel a few and canceled a few of his campaign stoppages of planned rallies. And, in retrospect, had he gone ahead with that, he might have well crossed the majority mark himself. Now, the campaign itself, as I said, there has been ideological positioning that he has emphasized over and over his opponents and his administrative objectives and target electorate. But his personal style, this is my characterization, I'd characterize it as mystique. And the reason I'd say that is because he's a superstar. His face is known everywhere. Nobody needs an introduction to his name, to his face, to his brand. But the fact that he wasn't on the ground going door to door, he was not in rallies. People do hundreds of rallies. He did a handful, and he just did a handful. That's it, right? He did not appear in, mohalla sabhas. He did not appear in, do not go door to door. And he did not do press meets. So I say that his personal style is one of mystique, rationing his brand. And the campaign itself, I would say, is a fundamental flip on all campaigns, on what we know as the grammar of electoral campaigns. The grammar of electoral campaigns traditionally has been in state elections, assembly elections, you have a combination of large-scale rallies, you have road shows where you're going through areas and neighborhoods, and then you have door-to-door. This is the combination of 3 things that you do. You do very large-scale rallies, you do, road shows that go through various streets where you're touching not lakhs of people, but, tens of thousands of people. And then you have really small scale ones, whether they are mohalla sabhas that may touch a few hundred people or you're going door to door. And these are all must. Everybody does that. The road show may be on a motorbike, the road show may be on a campaign vehicle, but it will be there. And then you have an online campaign. That's a more recent addition, especially since 2014, that election marking the beginning of the online campaigns, as a supplement to the offline, to the ground campaigns. So it started in 2014 with, Facebook type stuff. And then, as you know, in 2019, we had a lot of WhatsApp oriented things. And then it has been moving on since then, acquiring a bigger and bigger role. But this campaign broke all of that. It is an online campaign out and out, with far less of an offline component. The offline component is what we can term as a supplementary component to the primarily online campaign that was conducted. People did do a bit of door-to-door. People did do a bit of face meetings, but it was all very few and far between compared to traditional style campaigns. There were setbacks during the campaign. There were cancelled campaigns, as I had referred to earlier, due to crowd, due to police issues, and due to clashes, I don't mean physical clashes, but clashes between the government of the day, the DMK government, and TVK. But the Karur Stampede is the most well-known, which was one of his big rallies, and about 39 people were dead at the end of it. So again, it went back and forth as to, police responsibility versus party and Vijay's responsibility. But he bounced back really well. Again, it goes back to the personal style of mystique. Typical traditional style political party, the leader of the party themselves would have had to face the press. would have had to issue apologies. There would have been serious setback and then kind of backpedaling to come back from that. In this case, none of this happened. There was no press meet. There was no issue of a public apology per se. There were condolence issuances, but then he went and met the families of the victims face to face in their homes, and that's how he did it. So again, note the mystique. The only people that interact with him are the people that actually were affected or that needed to interact with him. And that's the way he handled it. So a very different approach to the grammar of campaigning. I dare say the grammar of governance too. Net, this is what happened. TVK formed the government with 107 of their own MLAs, 5 from Congress, amounting to 112, which doesn't touch the majority mark. The majority mark would be 118. Therefore, you have the small parties that provided confidence in supply. For those of you that are unaware of this term, it basically means outside support. The confidence in supply came from 4 small parties, CPI, CPM, VCK, IUML, each of those with 2 seats each, and the independent providing 1 seat. Now, subsequently, after the elections, the ADMK have split, and a rebel faction of 25 MLAs have provided support for the vote of confidence on the floor for the government formation. So net, he has 112 plus, even if you don't count the ADMK, he's already passed the 118. If you count the ADMK, TVK is at 146. And the official opposition is the DMK and DMDK, DMDK being Vijay Kant, another actor, his party. His wife's the MLA, he passed away. And the other opposition is the ADMK and the others. BJP has 1 seat. Last time the BJP won, I think, close to 3-4 seats, and they expected to win about 10. And this is where they are now. Okay, though as far as the women's vote goes, I didn't have an opportunity to fill everything, but I'll just go through the overall. The women's vote was actually split across TVK and DMK. Overall, clearly went to TVK at 38%. But if you look at rural versus urban, it was a wash. Similarly, if you look at the under 40 versus over 40, I haven't yet had a chance to fill it, but basically the under 40 will lean towards TVK and the over 40 will lean towards DMK. So it wasn't like overwhelming, like if you look at the urban, which is overwhelming towards TVK, the rest of the rural or the over 40 wasn't overwhelmed. It wasn't across the board, but significant chunks of women, urban, and overall under 40 basically voted towards the TVK. If we look at the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly from 1962 onwards, 1962 we had fewer seats, but you can look from 1967 onwards. The gray is the number of men and the red is the number of women. And you can see that the number of women is woefully small. There have only been 2 times, both under Jayalalitha, 1991 when she first got elected and 2001 when she got elected for the second time, when we've had the highest percentage of women. At this point, it just about touches 10%, is actually a tad less, like a decimal point less, but it rounds up to 10%. Certainly more than the last few times, but which is 23 women. 2026 is 23 women, the very top bar. But it's really not an overwhelming, female representation or anything. And finally, I'll just touch upon, it's only been, May 10th was swearing in. Today is the 18th, so it's been 8 days of work. What he has done so far is official appointments have been made. 10 ministers have been appointed, all from TVK. 1 of it's a woman, so 1 out of 10 so far. More are expected. For example, Congress is to be given ministries, we don't know. Will ADMK and VCK be in the cabinet? We don't know. These are all open questions. Official appointments for the Chief Secretary and Tamil Nadu, the Chief Minister's office has 3 secretaries, 1, 2, and 3. They have been made. The IG intelligence has been made. So in terms of official appointments, progress has been made. In terms of policy measures, there's a bunch of women-oriented things that we know that have been made public. The first was the Singapen Squad, which is basically a task force under the IG to handle issues of harassment of women. And this is done both at the city and the district level. It's decentralized. So it's the first thing that was announced. he announced that more than 700 of liquor shops, government-run liquor shops, would be closed because we have a huge alcohol addiction problem in Tamil Nadu. It's highly dependent on liquor revenues, the state. He's also announced, and this is by far to me the most amazing thing, which is an all-women team as additional Attorney General and Standing Counsel for the government of Tamil Nadu will be sent to the Supreme Court, because we know women are hugely underrepresented in the judiciary as well. And then he has also said that the conditional cash transfers, which were promises and commitments that were fulfilled by the DMK government, previous DMK government, will continue. That is the 1,000 rupees per month that is given, and then 1,500 rupees it was raised to, which will go. So now I would like to stop sharing and go to the discussion. I hope, I didn't rush through, but switching to, I invite Ashwita first. Ashwita, if you would please introduce your political journey in a few, briefly, if you will. I know you've had a long and checkered political journey, but if you could briefly introduce yourself, and then Sriram can introduce his journey as well, so people know when you make comments where both of you are coming from.
Hello, everyone. It's been a privilege and an honor to be part of this, and I'm a huge fan of BehanBox, so I am so grateful to be here, and of course, Tara. I think around COVID, I think all of us have this moment of like reflection, and I think at that time I decided that I want to be part of politics. I think that is when I went to ISD. I think I was part of the Democracy Express, and I was part of their first Good Politician program. That is the beginning in many ways, and after that I worked in IPAC, where I was campaigning, like helping leaders to campaign and everything. And then World Bank, but I was also part of this organization called Pen Collective, where we encouraged women to get into politics. I was part of that organization for 2 years, and then I went to Harvard. While I was at Harvard, I was really thinking about, I was so excited about elections, and I really wanted to come back and do it. And the day I graduated, I think the one day after I came back, and I think one of the reasons I joined TVK is also, I think many people at that time were like, I'm not even a fan of Vijay. I didn't grow up grow up watching many movies. So for me, it was an opportunity to be part of a party which really encourages young people to get into politics, and it's also a party which doesn't have any kind of baggage that it carries. So you really have an opportunity to really create a narrative. And at the same time, I think as many people, I think I was also fed up of many things which the Dravidian parties have been doing. So for me, it was an opportunity to really be part of the politics. And I think this is how I came in. And last 1 year, I have been working for TVK. I'm so excited for the government. I'm so excited for, I think as Tara mentioned, I'm very happy with the first 8 days itself. The first thing the Chief Minister has signed is the task force for women's safety, which has been ignored by the Dravidian parties for a really long time. So yeah, that is it.
I can hear the enthusiasm in your voice. Are you allowed to say you're not a fan of Vijay? Do we need to excise that part of the video?
I can. I have said it multiple times.
Okay, you've put yourself out there. Sriram, would you please? Thank you, Ashita. Sriram, would you please share your journey? You're on mute. Can't hear you, Sriram.
Sriram, maybe you can turn your video off if there's a internet lag.
Can't hear you, Sriram. Turn off your video now. Yeah. Would you please repeat your intro?
Sriram, I think it will try just keeping a video off and speaking, and we can see if that works a bit better.
Anjali or Pallavi, maybe you can call him and tell him this, and we can keep having the conversation with Ashwita in the meanwhile.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
much better.
Please.
Sriram, we can hear you. It's much better. Let's wait 1 minute to see if that.
Let me know.
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.
Hello.
Can you
Good
hear
evening.
us? We can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. Okay, this is working. I
Do
think
you
keep your
want
video
to
on.
introduce yourself in a few briefly?
I will just say thanks for everyone. And are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am.
I'm going to, maybe Anjali or Pallavi can speak to him privately and ask him to.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, maybe
Thanks.
from the phone might work better because anyway, we don't need to see the video. I'll meanwhile, we can continue with Ashwita, if that's okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Ashwita, back to you. I noticed that you're super enthusiastic about having come to power. So can we pin Ashwita's? Yeah, there you go. So tell us about the party, Tamil Nadu Kazhagam. Is the party, now we said it's a completely different campaign, it's a completely different grammar of approaching politics, it's a completely different set of voters that you have managed to, rope in. But how is the party structured? Let's talk about the organization. Does it, in a traditional party, it's structured geographically. You have district units, you have block units, you have ward level units. And it's also structured sectorally. You have a women's wing, a youth wing, a students wing, a minority wing. How is this? You have district secretaries, right? You have block level, you have a general secretary, you have a party president. How is Tamil Nadu Vetri Kazhagam structured?
I think, at least as far as my understanding goes, I think all political parties are more unstructured than we think of. I think even the parties which are like 70 years, old, they don't have much of structure. That is also something we have to keep in mind while I say this. We do have structure. There is a women's wing, there is a youth wing, there is IT wing. All of it existing. But I think one of the things which is very exciting or which is interesting about TVK is that it has democratized power to almost all people. Like, for example, I don't have a party position, but I still own a lot of power in social media, in the ground. So in many ways, I think that is what I feel like in because it's a new party. Like structurally to 2024 we started, but 30 years it's been, our leader has been doing a lot of work for the society, but it's only 2 years there is a lot of structure, political structure. So in a way that I think the party may also have realized that it is too it may go against its own interest if we have too many structures. And I think that is also one of the reasons I think all of us, like the common people, had so much power in the whole party. That is how I say it.
Can you share what that means? What does it mean when you say you have power in the party? Like, what can you do?
Yes. So basically, in any party, if I have to say things about the party, right, like about the decisions my leader is doing, about the structure, there will always be a criticism or there will always be a limitation from the party side saying you do not speak this, you do not say things about the party. I think in TVK, I believe all of us as young people, as women, all of us have wielded a lot of power in terms of to even to defend our party leader in almost all platform. I think that was a power, and that power I think is is one of the reasons why the party got into power. That's how I put it.
Okay. Okay, so you're able to speak on behalf of the party is what you're saying. Okay. Like you say, it's also the newness. We'll have to see whether it can continue like this, because once you come into governance and people start speaking about the party, then different things happen. So how did the organization itself work during the campaign? Did you, for example, did people, not you as in you, but did people get instructions through the hierarchy, through the district and block offices as to today, go do this. This is the work. This is the ward in which you have to campaign. You need to conduct this kind of a meeting. You need to go door to door. Were there kind of top-down instructions that happened, organization of the campaigns? Did you have organization meetings and, is there a TVK office, first of all, everywhere?
Yeah.
Is the physical presence the same? That's how we think of parties. You see
Yes.
flags, you see offices, you see paraphernalia. Is it there?
Absolutely. So almost all we have district secretaries, and interestingly, there are more women district secretaries as well, which is also interesting. And time to time, there is clear instructions on what to do, like how do you, pass on a message. But
How do you get the message? Through WhatsApp or?
WhatsApp, yeah, it is almost, yeah. And also, I think TVK is also heavily I think social media. So I think even in Instagram, you get these messages about, okay, leader is going here, and this is how you conduct yourself. This is what you need to do. This is how you speak. So all of those instructions are also coming in. But I think interestingly, what I also realized is that there are so many, organically grown movements also. So for example, I was part of many TVK women online groups, which are absolutely conducted by women, which is unprecedented. And we only create our own content, and like today, okay, this person has said this is how we have to defend our leaders. So there are a lot of informal structures also within the
campaign
party,
meetings that are happening.
Yes.
Initiated by women.
Yes, regular Zoom calls where we talk about how we want to do it. But at the same time, as you're rightly saying, there is a proper structure, and there is an informal structure which also gave rise to the party, I think, power.
So how did the online coordination work in terms of online as well? Do you have a structure, like do you have an IT wing? I've noticed that TVK, for example, I've seen an LI IT wing, your own area, an LI IT wing. I've seen an Alandur IT wing. So are there IT wings for each of the districts and blocks and wards and city and stuff like that? You have IT wing heads, and they kind of, is the message passing public? Like you said, on Instagram, you have a post that tells you what to do, what not to do. But are there also groups where you get instructions, and are there actual discussions? How is the online structuring? You talked about the offline structuring. How is the online structuring? Is everything driven by the overall TVK IT wing, and then you have district wings, etc.?
See, this is like any other party, right? Like it is like any other party where you have clear instructions on those groups, where clearly it is said, like, this is these are the posters which have to be circulated and all. But at the same time, so I think none of the parties in Tamil Nadu would have what TVK has, which is the more organic. So if a leader is going and speaking, I think on that day itself, there are hundreds of, tweets, posters, which is organically created, which is not really the party is telling us to create. And if there is some kind of, controversy that is going, organically, all of us are speaking in social media saying, this is how, this is wrong, this is right. And I think there was a formal IT structure, yes, but I think for most parties, it is limiting when you have, only the messages. I think because I've worked in IPAC, and, I know how these structures work. And I think for me, this was more interesting, because then you actually have the ownership to say, okay, these are informal things which I can circulate as well.
In fairness, actually, all parties do have a lot of organic, and there's random people making posters. You actually have the opposite problem everywhere, which is that you have everybody making posters, you have everybody creating content, you have people creating pages, circulating it, and sometimes saying things that are not what the party wants. I guess that's not yet the situation for TVK, because governance has just begun. At some point, that will also come. But I can imagine that the newness of it and the young people, preponderance of young people, can make it a really vibrant place.
Yeah.
I will take a pause for a minute, Ashwita. Shriram, can you hear us?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay,
I
awesome.
think.
Awesome. So why don't you give a brief introduction, and then we can continue with the discussion with you, and then start to.
Actually, I don't have a very big introduction. Actually, Pallavi have did my introduction. So I like to thank you just for inviting me to such a very good discussion about hot running topic of Tamil Nadu. So directly jump into discussion before.
Okay. So what is your impression?
thing. And
No problem. What is your impression of the results, Sriram? So clearly, Ashwita is thrilled. The Congress, you're from the
yeah,
Congress, the Congress gets to come back to
yeah.
get a share in power in Tamil Nadu after what? Nearly 60 years of DMK and ADMK. So this is just what is your impression of the elections?
The election results really surprised us. Congress was very surprised, and we were also welcoming it also because it's the era of new generation. Talking about the title, I like to mention this because the title of this discussion is "Making of Vijay." It was not completed. I like to complete this title like "Making of Vijay by Gen Z Generation." That is the right title for this discussion because when you look around us in the globally, there are two main things happened through Gen Z's revolution. One is happened in Nepal, and another thing is happened in Sri Lanka. They both brought new government. They were completely old governments are completely taken out, and they brought two new governments. So Gen Z generations are that much capable of bringing young bloods in the politics. Likewise, what happened in Tamil Nadu was undoubtedly surprising, and it's really revolution of Gen Z. I can clearly pitch that because we were in the field. We fielded in this election because I have managed two elections on Tiruvallur MP election with Satyant sir, and another thing. This time I was battling in the Thurayur constitution for my our Congress candidate, the Youth Congress president. He was ex-Youth Congress president, so I was battling to him, campaigning for him. I really didn't see any twist in the campaigning times because people were openly, they were not saying about we are supporting directly openly. They were not saying about I'm going to vote for TVK or I'm the supporter of TVK. Everyone was literally till the last day of campaigning. Everyone was literally supporting DMK or either ADMK. Their mood singers like that only. But after I really to mention that the last campaign of Vijay's words, which was really worked out after, which made the election result very good for him because he asked kids to vote for him, parents to vote for him. It was really worked out very well for Vijay, CM Vijay, and
Sriram,
his
we are
also his
hang on 1 second. So basically, I don't know if it was clear to everybody, but Sriram was saying that they could not get a sense in the constituency that he was campaigning in that it was going to go entirely the TVK way, and that the people that they met during campaigning, it felt like a usual DMK versus ADMK election to him, right? That was his read. And they did not openly come out and say that. And he felt that the final appeal of Vijay made a very special final appeal to kids, saying, that they should persuade their parents towards change, towards giving him a chance. And Sriram feels that probably had a huge impact. I would agree, but also tend to disagree. I don't think it was the one thing, but I mean, I'll leave it there. We'll come back to you, Sriram, in a minute. But I have a different question for you, Sriram, before we go back to Ashwita. Did you notice that TVK had this mega online presence and campaign, especially on Instagram? Did Congress notice it? And what was your reaction or counter, or um, did you feel like we are not able to match this? So what was your impression of their online presence, Blitz?
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, it was a election of social media. Their campaigning was almost social media campaign. It, it was not a ground level campaign because you can't see any candidates in the ground, battled in the ground. Literally, I didn't see. Almost in 234th assembly, I nearly 200 assembly candidates were didn't grounded for TVK
Didn't
because
what?
I don't know, they were not
200.
campaigning for themselves. Nearly 200 assemblies, they were not campaigning for themselves.
Hang on,
They were just
that's a huge claim, and I'm seeing all kinds of expressions cross Ashwita's face. Is it true that there was no ground campaign even by the candidates and 200 candidates didn't show up? Is that true? Ashwita?
Absolutely not. Of course not. See, I understand that this whole election is about the leader's face, about the leader's image. That is absolutely true. But at the same time, of course, you can't imagine an election where the candidates are not going out and campaigning. I know lots and lots of candidates who have been working for the last 2 years and who absolutely put all kinds of effort. It's not just during the campaign, like last 20 days. It's like 2-3 years of work they have done.
And they went door to door and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely disagree with this statement.
Is it now? This is a common impression. It's not just Sriram's impression, right? A lot of people will say because during a campaign you expect to see rallies, you expect to see road shows. I spoke about this earlier, right? You expect to see certain formats of things, and you again and again and again on the street you will see a DMK rally, an ADMK rally. If it's a Congress candidate, you'd see a Congress road show. Did TVK candidates do that? Did they have the small meetings, mohalla level meetings, door to door? Did they have rallies? Did they have road shows?
I am 100%. It's like I'm sure like you have all seen it in media, and I think we are a party which also has a heavy online presence. Of course, if there is nothing offline, you cannot project it in online. You have to have something to project it online as well. So absolutely all, like as I said, there are many candidates I know personally. I went and worked. All of them had been working for the last 2-3 years. They know that they are going to get this opportunity when, in fact, I myself has been working for the last 1 year, hoping to get a ticket. It was in the last minute, the party could not give me a ticket. But, so all of us have been working. It's not that we don't show up.
Not to put too fine a point on it, but when you say many candidates do this, and I'm going to come back to Sriram in a minute.
Yeah.
In a campaign, every candidate does it usually. So was it that some candidates didn't do the standard offline format or all of the candidates did it, but the proportion was very different? The online was so much bigger than the offline as opposed to traditional parties.
Yeah. See, I may agree that traditional parties and their candidates may have a lot of knowledge and they have a lot of booth structure, like booth level people. Maybe TVK candidates may not have that kind of leverage, which may be the reason why this impression is that that TVK candidates have not gone out. But I do feel this is absolutely like it's not like 100% right. It is absolutely like I do feel that many of our candidates have done really good work, and of course they went with the image of the leader. It's not their image. None of us have image. It is the leader who has worked for the last 30 years to build that kind of image for us to just go and campaign. So in that way, I think none of the candidates have their own personal image. But I think I'm sure Sriram knows Prabhu. He's absolutely famous for the last 2 years. There is Dr. Prem Lawrence. All of these people who have done tremendous work in the last 2 years.
Sriram, I'll come back to you, and we will move into the gendered aspect of the of the campaign and the whole making of TVK. So Sriram, you mentioned that you didn't see as much of ground presence of candidates, and you really saw a lot of it online. Compared to traditional parties, DMK, ADMK, and Congress, did you feel like the women voters, supporters, and the online, offline presence of women in TVK was any different, was more, less? What was your impression as at that time you were part of the DMK alliance? So you're in opposition to the TVK, and the TVK is in opposition to you. So what was your impression watching the campaign? Did it feel more gendered, more women, or less, or the same, or how did it feel?
Of course, we can literally see more young women who fielded for TVK. When it was Vijay's rally, you can see CM Vijay
full of young women.
Rally Yeah, rally did rallies in Thoothukudi, wherever Karur, wherever you can see more events in the more enthusiastic and eager to see Vijay, not as a party member, but they were enthusiastic and want as a fan girl. They were more eager to see Vijay's presence and lively, and they want to have a glimpse of him. So absolutely, the
So I'm going to
young
pause
women
you there
are
for a second. Pause you there for a second, because I think one of the things that we, as in the collective, the larger collective of us, we tend to jump to this conclusion that just because people are enthusiastic about seeing him, that they're probably not serious politicians. I don't know how valid that thinking is. I'll go back to, this is why I like to think of it differently, that there is a brand mystique that he tries to maintain on purpose, and he's rationing himself. So you see that enthusiasm amongst the people to see him. But I think that's how you end up underestimating TVK and the feeling that these are fangirls and not really serious politicians. And finally, they end up winning 108 seats. But going back to what you were saying, so in his rallies, there were a lot of women, right?
Yeah, of course, of course. You can
What about,
literally
go ahead.
you can literally even women only in his hard times where he was facing three backslashes issues in during his campaign period. But women's only supporting him even in his personal issues. Men were literally not supporting him, but women who stood up with him and they were literally supporting him for his hero, their heroes. Though whatever bad remarks he got politically or in his personal life, so they backed him very well and they were stood up with him till the last moment and they literally voted for him.
Did you also see that? Were you out and about on voting day? On May 3rd?
Yeah.
Were you able to see any difference in the way the polling happened with respect to TVK and women's participation?
Literally, they made a revolution. Like they made a dress code revolution. TVK came and dressed in social medias also. You better notice that. Might have noticed that. Literally every youngsters below Gen Z generation, literally wearing white shirt and broad shade pants for khaki pants for voting. So that's a dress code accepted. Everyone posted it and sharing that dress code accepted. Even some celebrities were doing the same, following the same patterns on the voting day. It was we were really surprised looking at these things, and it was, I don't know how they passed these messages to everyone, because literally these messages were didn't circulated and we didn't get rumor about it too. Because if such things were, if we hear such things, we might have
done the opposite.
And we might have turned voters' mood to voters.
I don't know if the audience is getting all of this, but
literally everyone was really.
Hang on, Shriram. I don't know if the audience is getting all of this, but something very interesting happened on voting day. All the TVK supporters, and you don't know who they are until you see them like that, but many of them showed up with white shirt and khaki pants, like a uniform. It was super cool because, there's these restrictions about not using party colors, party flag, paraphernalia near the polling booth, and so. But very cleverly, they just had a dress code, and Shriram is pointing out that nobody knew this ahead of time. So the opposition parties couldn't kind of do a counter thing or anything of that sort. Ashwita, did you want to say something?
I didn't wear white shirt and khaki
pants. Okay. All right. So
no, but I do want to say what Shriram was saying about
going back to women. Yeah.
So I really feel the making of Vijay by women and Gen Z voters is how I would say. I think one of my friends said that that this reminded her of the book Desperately Seeking Shah Rukh Khan. I think this, and I do feel that there are some aspects of it are true, because here is a person, here is a leader. He's calm, he's soft spoken, he's always stood for women. And has been there for the last 30 years. He has been there for us, and he has projected his image as a brother, and he's a good friend to women in the
When
movie.
you say he has been there for us, what does it mean? I mean, when you typically say someone's been there for me, it means that when I'm troubled, I can pick up the phone and call them or whatever, right? They'd stand with me. What does it mean?
So, see, that is why I mentioned the book Desperately Seeking Shah Rukh Khan. If you have read the book, you would know that how women are, having this admiration, or I don't know how to put this word, desire or fantasy towards this hero who they relate to, right? In that way, I believe there is a fascination towards Vijay and it is not just the image that he projected in the movies. For example, myself, like I did not grow watching movies, but still I have this fascination towards this leader. I have how do I say, like, commitment and conviction that this leader is good intention. Like, no matter what, he's going to do good for the people. He's not corrupt like any other politician, or he's not manipulative. So in that way, I think leader Vijay has built that charisma, has built that image, and that has led to this whole narrative about hero worshipping. But I would say that it's a different kind of aspiration, or respect and love and loyalty towards the leader.
So two comments on that. One is, as far as the presence of women, right? In rallies, you could, as Sriram pointed out, very clearly see it in Vijay's rallies, the preponderance of women. I have participated in a very large number of TVK spaces, right? Twitter spaces, just listening in. It's largely full of women. Full of men, I'm sorry, full of men, barely any women. There's always one or two women that are speaking, but it's
Twitter,
the same.
it's not Instagram.
It's not Insta, it's Twitter. That's
it's Twitter. It's a completely different platform.
So on Insta, you're saying it's a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, because see, I believe for the first time, as you're saying, like his white shirt, it's a very creative kind of a campaign which we did. And, I have never seen women, for example, in TVK, there are so many district secretaries, and they would come with the same kind of car, like the same kind of, people around them. It is, for me, it's inspiring to see women taking the lead in TVK, which is just not... you can't see, yeah, exactly, and it is inspiring. And
you
for
don't
me,
see it elsewhere.
Exactly, and
I worked with many parties, and you don't see it elsewhere.
it's just that we are owning the space is the message women are sending out. And also, I believe, in some way, I don't know whether it is good or bad. I think we will be talking about misogyny and online attacks and all. But at the same time, I felt every time I put out a message or I put out a video, I have thousands of TVK supporters defending me, like in my comment section. They are going to protect me no matter what. It's a family. It's no longer like a political party. I cannot be shut down by you, because I am supported by so many people who stand for this. So I think in that way, I think women are empowered in a very different way in this campaign than any other, is what I say.
So hold that thought, because to me, that's a double-edged sword. We'll come there. But I do want to say that I remember excuse me, even like a couple of years back, before they lost the Delhi election, even at that point, they were struggling to recruit women members into the, even in Delhi, I'm talking about their home base, repeatedly talking to me about how do we expand, we're just not getting women into the party. Vijay clearly does not, TVK clearly does not have that problem. But it's new. As it grows, as it matures, there's going to be more contention for spots, decision-making, and we'll have to see how that plays out. But we'll move into something that you raised. I'll go to Sriram first. So, Sriram, in traditional parties, we've had far fewer women. It's also difficult to balance between politics and home. And there's also both the reality and the perception of safety on the ground, even during campaigns, because during rallies and physical gatherings is extraordinarily large number of aggressive men, and there are fewer women, and it's always problematic, and you're always worried if they're going to push you, shove you, touch you inappropriately, use language, there aren't proper bathroom facilities, etc. So, do women in Congress and the other parties that you know, have they raised this? How do you address this during the campaigns? And then we'll go to what TVK does online as well. I mean, online and offline.
Yeah, in Congress, we prefer first safety for women, and since we have almost in seat sharing also, we used to prefer 30% for women women candidates. So during when you notice in Congress, there are in youth wing especially there are many young women in the Congress, and candidates also, like when you see literally there are many women leaders in the Congress in Tamil Nadu, notably Kuda MP, you know very well, Jodi Mani ma'am, and
I meant more from a campaign and candidates and campaign participation perspective, because the campaign imposes certain difficulties. The time of day, being out at night, rallies will start at 8, 9 p.m. and continue on. You're out in the middle of nowhere, no bathrooms, things like that. Is there anything, that you've heard
Yes,
of?
there will be some issues like that and all, for women candidates and all, even the cadres also. But those things are taken as serious, and they have been rectified by the party members. Because when you see even that's why I mentioned both even Jodhimani ma'am and Sudha ma'am in Congress, they were campaigning for MP elections. The campaign starts from early morning 7 until it will end till 10 o'clock. But after 10 o'clock, they have to stay till 12 p.m. at night also with the members for planning for next day also. They were literally, it's their willpower to hold or balance everything in the campaigning time, during election time, and in the party work, everything like that and all. And even our women members in Congress, they are also have to their willpower is to manage everything with the men. But seriously, in Congress, we as co-members, we used to prefer and arrange and give special care for our women cadres, our women leaders.
Thank you. So going to Ashwita, we'll switch to online and women. You mentioned that it's like a family and everybody supports if you have a. There is also the flip side to it, which is that if you're not in the family, right? I'm not in TVK, and if I make a statement that is, let's say, critical, it doesn't have to be rude, it doesn't have to be even wrong, it could even be right. For example, I could make a statement that said Vijay has never done a press meet as a politician, right? And that's factually 100% true. And it's also true in a democracy that politicians are expected to do press meets, right? And Vijay has never done it. Now, if I make a statement like that, there are always TVK supporters that are going to come and say, in my case, I haven't experienced anybody saying anything nasty, but there are people that, come and say, why should he do it? Why do you want him to do it? Modi doesn't do it. Why do you want him to do it? Or, media has been very biased, and that's why we're not doing it, kind of a thing. Whatever it is, but basically the ganging up or the herding works both ways. It works to defend, it also works to offend, right? So, but as women who are online, the DMK IT wing has also been extremely aggressive. So what has been your experience and the experience of TVK female members and cadre who are working online? What have you been asked to do? I mean, what is your role that you're supposed to play for the campaign? And what is the backlash, or what are the issues that you've seen? For example, many TVK members continue to be called tarkuris, which, to mean that they have, as if they have lesser intellect, right? They're like walking around with a bullseye on themselves because they are, kind of idiots, kind of a thing, a name that has been given by the DMK IT wing. So there is that, and then there's also possibly misogyny. And what has been your experience and the experience of your colleagues?
Yeah. So first, Tara, I also want to say, like when I first started the campaign, it was the like women who are in their households doing the running the homes were the first ones to message me saying that, okay, you are going out to the field, we want to support you. It is, and they were like, okay, we will do everything online, but go out in the field and do the work. And I think in that way, the women who are traditionally doing care work also involved in this campaign in a significantly bigger way, and I think that also led to this thing. And the point about, I think, attacks, online attacks, it happens to women in across all parties.
Yes.
Right, it is not just TVK or DMK, any party today, and it is the risk
Any
women
party
takes
and
by
any
just
women, any woman.
exactly
Right?
exactly
Yeah. You
and
can be the
it is.
president of India, you get called names.
Yeah, and it is a risk we all take by exposing ourselves. I think in many ways, I think one of the first few videos I did, and I think the one video I did on Tarkuri, it is the name which is given to us that somebody who can't read and write. And I think in the beginning, every single one of my videos will have senior Tarkuri, junior Tarkuri, something around the lines. And it would, I think it is a big mistake that all the parties have done to TVK, which angered the young people. And we want to exemplify, we want to demonstrate that we are not those people. We stand with our leader. In that way, I think the attacks also led to something very positive. It actually encouraged us to commit more to the party than running away. But at the same time, I would also say that I don't know whether it is for. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Whether it is for good or bad, I think my party, like every time I went online, there will be like hundreds of messages would say, Akka, we are there for you. We stand with you. I was more like, if there are 10 people going to attack me, I know there are 100 others going to support me as well. So I think in that way, I think TVK had the online presence led to give us more courage.
Okay, so I was asked to pause at 8:10 so that we can move to the next phase. Anjali, Pallavi, can we do a few more questions, or should we go to
We can take till
Obid's?
8:15. I think if there's any pressing questions that you still want to ask Sriram and Ashwita, feel free.
Yeah, I just want to ask one question actually, which is that we're talking about a lot of women clearly who have just attended and become politically active through TVK. A lot of women have voted the TVK at least as much or much more than other parties in certain segments. And then the representation is about the same as before. It's about 10%. It's not very high. We have one female minister so far, but we've seen a few early shoots of female-oriented policies as well, right? But women are not a monolith. So how does it look in terms of marginalized castes, minorities? Is this a lot of Savarna, groups and groups of Savarna women, women who are, upper caste, privileged, elite, English speaking, or do you have women represented across the demographic? And was there anything done specifically to attract people of marginalized castes into the party?
I think for me, in my imagination, or it is my assumption I'm making, that there is a lot of urban women participation. Only because I think they are very digitally savvy. They can do party work in a much more interesting way, creative way. And I also feel there is a lot of segment of women who are rural, who come from scheduled caste and scheduled tribe backgrounds. I think they relate to Vijay the leader in a much more deeper way because of the last 30 years of the work he has done. And I think through Vijay Makkal Yakam, which is which is a fan club, but also the social welfare organization, has done a lot of work. And I think every year they have supported so many children, for their education and all. So that way, I think the demonstration of he's a good leader, he has good intentions, has also served. And I also feel one of the things I believe DMK or any other party has missed is that whenever there is a question on women's safety, there is always this narrative which people say, oh, we are better than other state. And I feel for me, it angered me every time I heard it, because that is not the answer I would want to hear from an elected representative, right? And senior leaders of, I think in that way, I think the safety was a big, and drugs. I think those are the two big things which DMK and the other parties couldn't tackle, and which our leader has in a way promised us that he would deliver that mandate for the women. I think that also in that way, I
And
think
that
all
goes again
kinds
to
of women are also involved.
that goes to women who come from more oppressed communities, because that alcoholism and drug abuse is much more, and safety concerns are much more as your social demographic is, challenging. So,
I
okay.
want to,
Go ahead, Sriram. Have the last
I
word,
want
and
to,
then we'll switch to questions. Yeah.
yeah. I want to counter Sita's last sentence that where she was angry with the Dravidian parties that they were better than other states and all. Actually, that means when you compare with other Tamil Nadu with other states, women are empowered more in Tamil Nadu. And even in the safety things also, we are in the highest level of, we give preference to women also in Tamil Nadu. Because the Dravidian party, in, uh, in Periyar's ideology, it is very important about giving preference to 50-50 share to women. So we should not comment on that, because if TVK can improve that in upcoming days, when you notice in your campaign rallies, Vijay's rallies, women are arrested. The fan girls are arrested more. They faced more issues, misbehavings in the rallies, but which complaints are not came out literally, but as a complaint, but it really happened. It really happened in his rally too. He didn't provide any safety to her fan girls and all. If he was really prepared for the safety for his fan girls and women, especially women, what he is talking now, what he was talking in his campaign, and then in Karud incidents, there were more death, more deaths were women only, young children. So, what I say
Okay,
is,
so your contention is
Dravidian
that.
party is better.
Go ahead.
Dravidian and Congress party are far more better than any party in India.
Okay, we have a nice online war brewing here. Ashwita, go ahead. I
No,
don't know if
I
the
am
audience
no.
wants to hear your war or the questions. The
No,
war
I
is
am not
on, but
denying
we
the
have.
fact that women are not safe anywhere. All of us know it. Be it TVK, be it anywhere, women are not safe. Any rally. That I am not saying that women are safe in TVK. I am only saying that the fact that just because Tamil Nadu in indicators wise is better than others, it doesn't mean that we deserve the safety which we deserve in the state, right? And that was for me is a absolutely, it just I cannot accept the fact just because you are better than other state doesn't mean that your leaders are answering in that. It was more like a very lazy statement according to me, that oh, we are better. No, we are not better. We have a lot to go in this. We still have 10% of women in the assembly. So I
It
think
came
that for me was
across more as arrogance, is what you're saying, as having
exactly,
already accomplished
yes,
something when there's still so much left to be accomplished. This is what you're
exactly,
saying. This is
yes,
what you
yes,
felt.
yes.
Okay.
Not saying about TVK or nothing else.
Okay. All right. We're going. Thank you, both Sriram and Ashwita, for keeping that discussion, for disagreeing. I'm very happy you're disagreed, because that gives some josh to the discussion. So we will, the audience has been very kind to wait. So we will, there are a whole bunch of questions on the chat. So we'll go through some of that. There are concerns about engagement with media, right? So it's taking a cue from the central government's playbook, which is not to really engage with media. And in a true democracy, you need regular media engagement. Any comments on that from either of you? Would you agree, Ashwita, first of all, that media is a key pillar in democracy and media must be engaged?
Yeah, personally, I agree. But at the same time, I would also want to see, for example, I would want to think that any party takes decisions based on, the people which are in the second level leadership or third level leadership. I'm assuming this decision was taken considering the several factors. But personally, if you ask me, of course, leaders are accountable. They have to, but maybe there is a time, maybe there is a reason why they do it, or maybe
they need to get there soon, is what
and
you're
also,
saying.
I believe for the last 2 years, I've been noticing this party has released so many press statements. So whenever people say that, oh, we don't know what's your ideology, I would say that you are not listening actually, because there are number of press statements, number of times the leader said this is our ideology, but nobody is willing to listen because everybody is like, oh, TVK is not a party which we should be afraid of. And I think that also led to all of this. So that is what I would say. Like every leader has a way to talk to the people, and our leader, I think, may have chosen the press, and he would eventually press releases. He would eventually choose interviews. I don't know.
Okay. How would the
Tara,
party?
sorry
Go
to
ahead.
interrupt you. When you share the question, it would be great if you can also share who has said it. And I'm also happy to help moderate in case you would like.
So please go ahead. The previous question was from Preeti Mangala Shekhar, the one about the media. Thanks, Preeti. Why don't you go ahead,
Sure,
Anjali,
I
with
can
the
help you out
questions
with
then?
that.
Yeah.
Sure. I'd also be interested to ask that to Sriram and understand how has the experience been from your perspective on the engagement with media, and how has that been received or understood outside TVK? Vijay's engagement with the media. You're muted.
Yeah, actually, Vijay, the leader Vijay didn't even do any press meet in his last 2 years. I think he did rarely did. I think I didn't notice any press meets. Just he used to give some release some videos only, but he never answered any media person's questions. He never opened up to press meets and all, only his members who Adav Arjuna or the Raj Mohan, namely, and other guy, uh, Viola Money, they were debating in the media, and like what if you can see Stalin or VCK leader, even our state president, Congress state president, literally they used to give press meets daily, or even they used to face medias daily, and they used to answer the news channel questions in every occasion, daily occasion. But when you come to TVK's leader Vijay, there were no press meets, and all. I think he had never attended any questions of news channels, I think.
Thanks. Tara, there's a question for you that I would like to ask, which is it's from Lakshmi on how would the party work towards maintaining the depth of people's fascination with what you call mystique?
The depth of people's fascination. I'm not sure I understand the question. I guess what Lakshmi is asking is how do you maintain this?
Yeah.
How do you continue to keep people fascinated using mystique? I think someone like Vijay is perfectly positioned for it because he's already a superstar. So there's a certain degree of unmet desire to see him, if you will, right? So it's much easier for him to maintain it than anyone to cultivate it. If you're a grassroots politician who's grown up from working in the community, it's very difficult to have mystique because you start with work from traditional politics says you start with community work, right? You work for your community, you build, you do good things for your community, you earn goodwill, and you run locally, and then you go to the next level. Then there's not supposed to be a mistake. Everyone's supposed to know you. You're supposed to be approachable. You're an elected representative. I think that's where Vijay's challenge is going to come, right? In that it's a completely different hat to wear. It's like, the older women will know it's different to be a woman. It's different to be a parent. It's a different hat. If you're different to be a working professional woman, it's a different hat you wear. And he needs to be able to juggle that. Even now, as a CM is a different hat than as a campaigner. So as a CM, he's accountable to me, whether I vote for him or not. But as an actor, he's not accountable to anybody. As a campaigner, he's not. He wants my vote. I may vote for him, I may not vote for him. So I think it's easy for him to maintain his mystique, but I don't know if that will serve him well in the long run. I would say that they're changing the grammar of politics entirely. So the rules that as we know it, the expectations as we have it are changing and they don't apply. A lot of the TVK people, when I made this comment on social media, said, but media is biased against us. So if we go and talk to media, they will say bad things. So there's a lot of fear about what people are going to say. But that's the whole thing about being an elected representatives. You're supposed to take the criticism. I don't think the TVK overall has come to terms with that yet because of the euphoria also, right? You didn't expect to win, you've won. Now it's a completely different role you need to play. It's going to take some time. Hopefully it'll happen.
There's a connected question by Adi on the role of hero worship in this campaign. I think it's related to what you were just saying. So would either Ashwita or Sriram, would you like to respond to how did hero worship, or did you see hero worship coming up? Was it something that played a role in the campaign? How do you understand this idea of hero worship when it comes to Vijay?
Yep.
We
Yeah,
can go Sriram and then
absolutely.
Ashwita perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a kind of hero worship. We can literally see this because he was praised as anything like people were madly behind him, and there is a huge fan base, and it was converted into political fan base. That was I can say, and people blindly believe him in whatever. Even Asita mentioned that we have our ideology, but those ideology were not uh, uh, correct in terms of words, and they were a copy of. There was some reference of other parties' ideology also. They were repeatedly, even their top leaders haven't speak to social media or any anchors with the perfect things, perfect structure of their ideology. So without any ideology, the party TVK has been chosen and it came to power. Uh, so we can call it as a hero people.
Ashwita, do you want to add anything?
I just want to say that the context of Tamil Nadu itself, right? We have been this state through movies and films. We have consumed a lot of political ideas from the beginning. I think the Dravidian parties also started through Yelisai Nadagam, and which is the song, the drama and everything. And I think it is in there. Like I believe there is a section of us who really consume art politically as well. And I think, I don't know whether you call it hero worshipping, but this person has, the leader has demonstrated somewhere, has given a lot of political messages in so many of his movies. Like in the last, I don't know, like some 10-15 movies especially, he has given a lot of political messages as well. And I think that is something which needs to be considered.
I think one thing I'd say is that Tamil Nadu is different in the sense that it is not that movie stars enter politics. It is that politics is messaged through movies, and that is something that started in the late 50s, early 60s. Annadurai, the founder of DMK, was the one to start it. He was a screenwriter, dialogue writer. He wrote political content for films. And since then, films have stayed political, and they have been the via media for political communication.
Yeah.
Just like political communication is done through whatever form, through social media in other places, political communication is done through films, and it has been continuous since the 60s. So, in fact, even Stalin acknowledged that what used to be the tea shop discussions are now the social media discussions. So it's a highly politicized state in that sense. So it's not the same as an Amitabh Bachchan being elected. There's no equivalence at all.
Okay, I have one last question. I'm going to combine two questions. There are more questions on the chat, and I would say keep putting those questions. We will also collate these and send them across to the speakers. Just in the interest of time, I'm going to take one last question. So there is a question from Mani Shankar on what made women choose him when what Mani Shankar says that there were no concrete or effective policy frameworks put forward by him or his party, whereas someone like Stalin had effective policies for women like free bus transport, monthly direct benefits, etc. And this is there's another question which is along these lines by TS, which is that when it comes to the gendered aspects of the promises that were made in the pre-elections campaign, and this is coming from someone who's worked a lot in sexual and gender-based violence, what kind of research and preparation went into forming something like the Singapan police squads, given that such anti-harassment squads often lead to moral policing, or that given Tamil Nadu's history of um, honor honor crimes and the representation or almost like a reflection of the police through the khaki pants and the uniform that we saw, whether that and alleged homophobic statements. So the question on why women or other gender and sexual minorities should come out or have voted or should trust the government basically is what stretches across these two questions. Questions around patriarchal violence. And so if anyone would like to take a shot at this, I'll just leave it open for whoever would like to take a go at this question.
What I would say is that people often think that the vote is based on some evidence and data. The vote is typically emotional. Across parties, across elections, the vote is always emotional. So it's only the unattached people that, who at the last minute decide with this way or that way, which may be 20% in some states, 30% in some other states. In Tamil Nadu, for example, traditionally, there's been a core vote of about 30% for the DMK, 30% for the ADMK. The other 40% was split across various parties. What Vijay has done is scooped up a whole bunch of the young women, young youth separately, women separately, and then the rest of the population, minorities, of course, the rest of the population as well, in such a way that he is scooped out from DMK, scooped out from ADMK, scooped out from everywhere. And people do that emotionally. They don't say, I'm going to look at these policies and, does somebody have a better way to handle this particular issue versus that particular issue? I'm going to create a scorecard and then I'm going to vote. Literally nobody does that. Basically, people don't vote on their past, they vote for a future. But you can piss them off if you don't deliver properly, deliver what you promised, or even what you didn't promise if you didn't deliver properly. So in this case, I think personally that young people's aspirations was not being fulfilled by the DMK government. There was aspirations. It is true what Ashwita said, which is that a lot of people were saying the government was saying that we have delivered all this, and they are right. They did deliver it. The state is better off than elsewhere, and the women in the state are better off than elsewhere. But it doesn't help me when I go out and I am harassed to know that in UP women are worse. Who the hell cares? I'm being harassed here and now. And it doesn't help me when I know that there are 40% manufacturing workforce is women, when I need to find a job that pays me as much as I want to. I want Chennai to look like Bangalore. I want, I'm not getting those things. So that's not how it works. But when you think that you're better off than some other state, and I don't think people got that. So there is an emotional aspect to seeing so many people fall prey to alcoholism or to drugs. These are all the things that repeatedly come up if you listen to the TVK supporters. You may think they are small things, but clearly it gave them 108 seats. So the vote is always emotional. And I think that the DMK and the ADMK were disconnected from the ground because they honestly did deliver largely, and they were so taken in by their delivery, but they did not see beyond that.
I'm going to actually build on this question for Ashwita. Ashwita, another question came in from Muthal, and it ties into the earlier question on gender minorities. And Muthal's point is that TVK never spoke about the trans bill, never took a stand on it. And there was another comment that said there were homophobic comments. So the question arises, what do we expect from Vijay and from TVK on these kinds of issues? How do we understand why should gender minorities trust or vote for TVK? if you have any thoughts on that.
I think for the earlier question on women and like the DMK delivered, I think one of the first things leader Vijay has done is to give promises for women on Women's Day. That is the first set of manifesto points which went out. So for sure, the party has really thought women as the major voter bloc. And the question on, I think the Mutal's question. I think there are so many issues that has happened, and I think for me, I think as a party member, I really felt that the party was picking its battles because it is only 2 years. Because there is a lot of things that are happening. There are certain issues the party spoke in via the second level leadership. It was not the leader who is giving the press releases, but it was, for example, Tiruparagunram issue. The leader part, the second level leadership gave answers on that, and any kind of honor killing, the second level leadership gave answers on that. On the trans bill, and like I am sure Grace Banu, the trans activist, she has joined TVK, and that demonstrates something, right? Because like the existing ruling party may not have done the justice that is like I've worked with so many transgender people in Tirunelveli, and I hear the same thing from them. So just because the party has not put out a the leader has not put out a statement, doesn't mean that the people are not listening. The second level leadership are always answering. I think if you live in the state, it's much more understandable.
Thanks for sharing. Sriram, just to end with the last question for you, which is that you mentioned that women and Gen Z especially are what made TVK or what made the success of TVK. Given our conversations and some of the questions that have come up in the chat, why exactly do you think it was Gen Z and women, according to you, that made this success happen?
Yes, Gen Z really played a very big role in this election, especially every youngster inside his home literally campaigned for TBK or Vijay, and influenced every senior to vote for TVK. Even in my house, uh, my grandma, uh, my grandma were literally pushed to vote for TVK by our Gen Z kids. They were literally adamant, and they literally came to booths also, and they want to notice that if they are voted for TVK or not. They literally want to see that also. So that kind of campaign was done, even though the candidates didn't campaign as much as the Gen Z kids. It was really Vijay had a mind game. Vijay had really played a mind game with the Gen Z generation. I can really say that thing, and I have to really mention that because it's really true. You can notice it visibly on election day, polling day. It was really true. Every friend of my friends were coming and saying that my kid asked me before when I'm leaving home to poll my vote. My kid was asking, Dad, I want to come with you and I want to see you that you are voting for TVK or not. Even some more DMK votes were, parents were, DMK Dravidian followers were literally pushed and voted for TVK because their kids, for their kids' happiness. Yeah, literally that was happened, and the another thing was the Vijay word was really worked out. Please give me only one chance, like Modi used to beg to people. He also asked Tamil Nadu people, just give me only one chance. That really worked in this election, but I don't know what will going to happen in upcoming elections and all. Because we are more ideologically people and we are more Dravidian people. We are not supposed to do our vote like this pattern, but we are still we see. I'm really upset for it.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, Sriram. I think it's very interesting to see all of the different perspectives in this call, and they're important. It's important to have these discussions. It's very invigorating, though, to see all of the different perspectives coming in. I can see Ashita shaking her head when there's a conversation.
Congress is an alliance with TVK. You should be really careful now.
But truth is truth. We can't hide truth.
I do want to say two things before the audience. We talked a lot about women and Gen Z. Older women and older people also voted the TVK. That's how they got to 108 seats. And a lot of older women did not vote only because their children pressured them. They came to the booth. They were tired of the two Dravidian. But the fact is, after 60 years, even if someone has delivered well, there is a certain fatigue that sets in and people are looking for a change. And a lot of older people were looking for a change. After the government assumed office, when I was in Chennai talking to a large group of people, all of them older people, they were saying, we need to give him some time. We can't just judge him this quickly. He's a new guy, he's come in. We need to give him some time. And that sort of thing. So I think there's a lot of allowance that is being made, and a lot of people want to see it turn out well. There's a lot of goodwill. But I'll say two things that I think are huge red flags. One is he needs to get a really strong advisory team. The team that he has, I don't know how much experience they have, and they need to be people who are willing to be critical. He needs to be okay with criticism. As an actor, because he was at the top of his game, he may not have been okay because he's already gone through all that. But as a politician, it's very different because you serve people. So he needs to have an advisory team that is solid and that's capable of telling him some hard truths. And the second is he needs to have policy experts. The policies that have come out are fine, but they lack depth. I'd honestly say that. If you do the research, this is not how things will look. When the Singapore Squad was announced, it worries me that the police are going to end up doing moral policing. So policies need a lot of research because they can have side effects that are unexpected, right? So he needs to have policy experts in his team. I hope he gets there.
Thank you, Tara, for summing that up. I actually think that brings us to a very good balanced end to this conversation, which I think we don't want to end because it is so interesting. I want to hear more about what all of you are thinking about this election. But yeah, it has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much, all three of you, for taking it in so much spirit as well, disagreeing, agreeing, bringing all of these nuances to the table. I think it has been fantastic. I'm sure both for audiences who are from Tamil Nadu, but as someone who's not, I can say even for those of us outside Tamil Nadu, it has been so insightful. So thank you so much for taking out the time and being here with us today, all three of you. To the audience, I know you have many more questions. I can see them coming into the chat. Please do send them to us. Those of you who have signed up for FEN, we will add you to the WhatsApp group soon, so you can put down your questions there. You can also send them to us at community@behanbox.com, and we will forward them to the speakers. Tara, Sriram, Ashwita, if you have any resources or anything you would like to forward to the audience that's here today, please send those to us and we will share that across with everyone as well. And we will send you any questions that come our way or any questions that are on the chat, but we were not able to get to. For the audience, thank you so much for joining us on a Monday night. It has been such an interesting conversation and it's been wonderful to hear your insights as well. We will share a recording soon with you. So in case you missed parts of it, or if you'd like to share this with someone and have a discussion around it, we will share that with you very soon. And just to give all of you, since many of you on this call have signed up for the Feminist Election Newsroom, just giving you a small idea of the fact, even though elections are over, that was just the start of what we are going to be doing at FEN. Going ahead in the weeks ahead, we're going to be tracking government policies and poll promises, widening our understanding and imagination of what counts as democracy or what matters when we have democratic conversations. And we really want to have more conversations with people across the aisle, with people who have different starting points, with those of us coming from different perspectives and backgrounds. So a couple of the things we have lined up is we are already doing some intense post-election analysis, so keep a lookout for that. We're going to be doing more SIR coverage. As all of you know, SIR is going on right now across India. We're going to be doing a deep dive into labor rights as democracy, as a democratic issue. engagement on monsoon session of Parliament, of course. And we are also starting an exclusive Feminist Election Newsroom newsletter. So if that's something you're interested in, do join us. There's going to be a lot more as well. And yeah, you can write to us, drop any suggestions, write to us at community@behanbox.com. And I'm going to put down a Google form link as well in the chat. So feel free, if you haven't yet, you can join us, join the Feminist Election Newsroom through that. But with that, I think good night, everyone. It has been wonderful to have you here. Thank you again to Tara, to Ashwita, to Sriram, and all of you who have joined us.